The iPhone 13 series of phones have come with some quite significant camera updates, including something Apple call cinematic mode, which allows you to capture shallow depth of field video. But is it possible to capture footage like this without an iPhone 13? Well, there are quite a few apps available that advertise portrait mode style video, and today I'm going to show you two of them. The first is Focus Live. It's an app that allows you to capture shallow depth of field video and adjust both the aperture and the focus later. It comes with a plethora of editing options as well, such as transitions, layers, effects, LUTs, stabilization, speed ramping, masking, adjustment layers, chroma key, blend modes, the list goes on. Next we have Protake, and instead of offering an editing suite like Focus Live, Protake is a fully featured beast of a video app, complete with full manual controls, many different shooting profiles, project management, exposure and color assistance, microphone control, etc. And they're both very impressive, ambitious and comprehensive apps in their own right, but today though I'm only focused on their shallow depth of field video. Which app does it better, and is either of them a viable alternative to cinematic mode on the iPhone 13? Well, for me there's 5 potential deal breakers that you need to know about. The most important thing is how they only work with iPhones that have a dual camera, triple camera, LiDAR or true depth front-facing camera setup. So this iPhone XR, for example, can't capture portrait mode video with its rear camera, but it can with its front-facing true depth camera. And this is point number 2. These camera configurations don't provide equal results. The LiDAR depth data, for example, is supposed to be vastly superior, and you can see the difference in the quality of the depth data down here with this cool little visualization. The third thing is how they both only work up to 1080p HD, there's no 4K. And the fourth thing is their user experience and workflow. Protake allows you to set the simulated aperture before you shoot, and it will give you a live preview of the blur effect as you record. Whereas with Focus Live, it looks as if you're capturing regular video, but then you can change the aperture and move the focus point around later. You can tell it to only focus on a particular point, or you can track a face, and you can change the shape of the aperture as well. Focus Live's workflow definitely gives you more freedom and flexibility, because with Protake, yes, it's cool to see the live effect, but once you've captured your video, that's it, it's locked in and there's nothing you can do. And finally, there's the quality of the shallow depth of field effect itself. Regardless about how you feel about those other things, this is the core element that matters, and I've purposefully only shown you bits of clips and still images so far because, well, take a look. Very nice couple. So let's take a look at some of these clips, and for the most part I'm going to talk about them as if they are one, because they both behave in the exact same way. Firstly, the closer the background is to your subject and the more detailed and textured it is, the worse the effect is going to look. So the vast majority of these nature clips look terrible. Place your subject further away from the background though, or film in front of a smooth, uniform surface like this yellow wall, and you can capture something that looks half decent, whether you're using a phone with a LiDAR sensor or not. The most impressive example I have is this one from Focus Live, where for a few brief moments it manages to nail the focus on the face in the narrow gap between the fingers while rendering everything else out of focus. But getting it right for a few frames or a few seconds or even an entire clip in very controlled and specific circumstances just isn't good enough. There's also an issue with exposure, where certain parts of the frame will turn completely white or just start flickering, and again, both of them do this, and whether it's the poor blur effect or the exposure issue, it's not just one of those things that only photographers or filmmakers are going to notice. Even my wife, bless her, while she was recording me, was like, "Why is it flickering? What is wrong with the background?" I'll never do that again. Where's she from?
Why is jittering, like with the sky?
It's the app's fault. And I'm not after perfection here, you know, I was expecting a rough edge, but I was also expecting something that I could at least recommend for having fun with. But if I was to like just sit here and try and put a positive spin on this, it would just be gaslighting you at this point. You know, what am I going to do? Sit here while after having shown those examples and just be like, yeah, well, it's a mostly good effect. Just don't even go there. But it's not all bad, because these apps are both so much more than just their portrait mode style video. Focus Live's editing suite is brilliant. Seriously, it's marvelous. If you like the other Focus that's meant for stills, then you'll love this for editing video on your phone. There's so many tools available, and I've had a blast playing around with it, especially with the chroma key. This is actually the first time that I've ever done anything with a green screen, not that you can tell by the high quality of this clip, of course. And as for Protake, well, just look at this thing. I'm actually excited to make a full review of it as an advanced video app. So what do you think of Focus Live and Protake's shallow depth of field video capabilities? Do you think I'm being too harsh? Do you think it was unfair of me to test these out primarily in front of trees? If the answer to either of those questions is yes, then feel free to make your own video and present evidence to the contrary. I'm just teasing certain people for my own amusement. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, stay curious, and back around. A viable alternative to cinematic mode. But today though, I'm only focused on the cinematic. But today though, I'm only focused on laughing. But today